Storygoers, and welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Cartridge, the video game storytelling podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Eric Penrod.
I am also one of your co-hosts, Ryan Bauer.
And today we have our very special guest, as always, Celeste Law.
Hi!
Welcome again, as always. How are you?
Howdy. Doing good. Doing lovely. Living my best life.
And what have you been playing? I forgot to ask.
Just doing good. Just, girl bossing my way. Through life. Being gainfully employed. Moved in with my girlfriend.
Woo!
All the best fun things. I think this month this is my 7 months on HRT.
Woo! Congratulations!
Great fucking time. And then y'all know what games I'm playing. That's not. That's not. You don't need to ask me. Like, why are we here right now? Ask yourself that question, and you've answered it. I can't stop playing Baldur's Gate 3. I have to sit here because I got it for my girlfriend so she could play with me, but then she's playing on her own because I want to play on my own too for my story. And I have to hold up my hand like a blinder because her monitor's right next to me so that I don't get spoiled because she's ahead of me.
You need those, remember those old, in the 90s, the big folders you'd open
yes!
up to put around you to do tests?
I literally do. I literally require that.
Yeah.
Having a great time with Baldur's Gate 3. I did the early access when that was out last year with Callius, and that was a friggin' blast. But now as I'm playing as my next shameless self-insert character, who may or may not, be the star if we do Baldur's Gate 3 scripts of this. My little girl, Sylvie.
Woo.
She's a feisty little ranger. She will fight you, and she will cry.
Over your dead body.
And that's been it's a game like we were talking a little bit before recording. It has everything I want in a game. I can make my favorite D&D character. It's Dungeons and Dragons, that thing that I do like 4 nights a week because having hyperfixations is a great time. And it's horny as fuck. And it's just, fun stories and fun writing, and it's got all the fun references to the first 2 games that I've played all the way through both of those, so I know those. So I just, lights up all the good spots on my brain. You stick an MRI to my brain while I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3, I will cut the power for like a 10-mile radius from that short-circuiting.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying Baldur's Gate 3. I feel like that is the game that is on everybody's mind right now. It is so big in the moment, especially on Twitch. Everyone's streaming Baldur's Gate 3, which is pretty wild. So cool. But anyway, Ryan.
Yeah.
How are you, and what have you been playing?
I'm doing pretty well. Just enjoying the wonderful time here with my friends. Having the best time. And what I've been playing, a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't played a ton of it yet. My partner and I want to play it together, and we're playing it on the Steam Deck co-op, and it looks bad. So we're going to get it on, I think, PS5 when it comes out in September, and I'll probably play it more then. And then eventually I'll also play it more on the computer, because I think that'll be a really great time. Probably the best way to play. So I'm playing that. Some Crusader Kings here and there. The new expansion comes out on Tuesday, which I'm excited about. And then Vampire Survivors, they just came out with a co-op version of it. So you can play Vampire Survivors with another person, and it is just absolute chaos. If you know anything about that game, it is just a dopamine hit of a game. And if you just add more lights and more things on the screen, it's magical and very, very good. And that's pretty much it. That's all I've been playing. And panicking that I didn't play enough Destiny this season, but that's for me to hold on to and work through. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I'm playing. Eric, how are you? What have you been playing?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. I always look forward to these. I always look forward to all of our recordings, but especially Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
I just think they're so special.
Yeah.
And I think so many people enjoy it. I just get so excited for it. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm so excited for Celeste to be here. It's just a good time. So I'm very, very happy right now. And I'm really excited as I'm summer's wrapping up, which makes me a little sad, though I do enjoy fall a lot. So, but I'm excited because I plan to go to the beach tomorrow morning. So I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah.
It's little things, So yeah, what I've been playing, I'm still on the Fortnite train. I just cannot get off. Like, it's just that weird, it's almost like a Vampire Survivors dopamine hit. It's like that weird, like, I need 15 minutes to do something. Or 30 minutes to do something. Because, yeah, I always think it's going to be 15 minutes. It's going to be 30 minutes. And I've also been playing Pokemon Stadium 2, which just came out on the Switch recently.
Whoa.
My partner grew up playing the N64 with her brother. And she played Pokemon Stadium 2, but she only played it for the mini games. And I had only ever played it for the battling part of it. I never played the mini games. So like the mini games is a huge like fun thing for her. It's very nostalgic. So I've been playing those with her, and it's so much fun. It's a new way to play this game or not a new way, but like it's a way to play the game I've never experienced before. So we're just having a lot of fun with it. So much fun that I just bought like third-party N64 controllers for the Switch, and they're coming today. So I'm really excited about it.
Very cool.
Yeah, because Nintendo doesn't want to re-release their N64 controllers they had out for like a short period of time. They never brought them back out again. I don't know why.
I guess they didn't like making that much money.
I guess so. Who would have thought? You know, it's Nintendo. But yeah, so that's all that I've been playing. Storygoers, we hope that you enjoyed our last episode. Storygoers, as always, you can email us your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives to talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All the E's are threes. You can also find us on our social media of Instagram and Threads by leaving a voicemail or text to our toll-free number at 207-494-4334, or down below, if you're on Spotify, we will have a poll question or some kind of interactive question you can comment on, and we will read all those in a future episode. As always, too, if you feel in your heart of hearts to donate to our Patreon, you'll be having access to our exclusive scripts, downloadable episodes of like put together bedtime stories, and Baldur's Gate would be a really cool one to put on there as well. The whole story for people to listen to, it'd be really cool.
A big old 5-hour, just beautiful.
Yeah. It'd be amazing. It'd be so good. And of course, you also get the warm feeling of supporting your favorite podcast to us. So, yeah, as always, and of course, if you can rate us on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to that has ratings, that'd be super duper. Yeah, so we're back again for Baldur's Gate 2 Part 3. Yeah. Sorry, I want to make sure I got that right, and I sounded
you got it right.
Like a silly head. Okay. Do we want to go through background stuff again, or since we did it essentially in the first episode?
Yeah, it's been a year. We can get into that.
Okay.
This fun game that was released all the way back in September of 2000.
That's wild.
It's an old friggin' game. Just back that's why it's like playing Baldur's Gate 3. You get like an immaculately, like I showed y'all some screenshots. Like you get like the graphics are tight. Like you can do a lot of stuff with those characters and make them just look gorgeous. You can see like the light glinting off of their eyes when they're down in like a molten hell forge next to a volcano. You can see the sweat just automatically glistening on their skin. There's blood, and there's just like dirt and grime and shit all over their faces, and then you go back and play Baldur's Gate 2, and you have like a little 2-pixel person who's just like just Minecrafting around the whole place.
Yeah.
You can, however, put your own voice lines in those games, and
that's true,
as well as character portraits. So I got to hear myself, the Calius the Humble at your service for like 70 hours. Which was fantastic. I've never had that in a game before, so that was a great time.
Do you think now, I randomly have this thought, with the success of Baldur's Gate 3, like, would there be a reason for BioWare to go back? Does BioWare make Baldur's Gate 3? Is that who's the
No, it was Larian.
No, Larian Studios.
Original Sin folks.
Yeah, plays like their other like Divinity Original Sin 2 is you play that, and it's gameplay wise extremely similar, but now just with like the rules of D&D, and they incorporate like all the dice rolling and things like that. But yeah, BioWare developed the original with Baldur's Gate 2, and published by Black Isle Studios and Interplay Entertainment. Michael Hoenig came back, I think, from the first game. Was he? I don't remember. I don't know. What's a Wikipedia article? Basic fact checking.
We'll leave it if it's true.
I read a story. And Howard Drawson. The scores are still really, really cool and fun. Have that really like nice, nostalgic little D&D vibe from it. And it's fascinating because we did get the preview installment of this story, Siege of Dragonspear, a reminder that came out in 2016.
Yeah.
They basically made a revival of this game in 2016, which I will also remind everyone from today was 7 goddamn years ago.
Which a year later, Larian would have started on Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah.
Wow.
Some crazy stuff.
Do you think there's a reason? Do you think there's ever a chance that Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Siege of Dragonsphere will be remade in current Baldur's Gate 3?
That would take a lot. You'd probably like I did see some like videos of people on YouTube who took like the Dragon Age Origins like engine and made like some cutscenes from like Baldur's Gate 2, which looked pretty cool. So it's like, wow. I suppose it'd be possible, but that's more than just like when they like remake like Last of Us 2 and it's just like,
True.
We updated like the lighting and the graphics and some things. Like that would be like you'd basically still have to like make and animate a whole game. It would just already be like written, and if you used the same audio, that would be the case.
They've made a lot of money at Baldur's Gate 3. I think that's a game that's going to be making money for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So if there's investment in there, people want to go back, it's kind of a good idea,
And just wanted... And before we start, wanted to make sure, again, this time I gave a shout out to... I used in this story, I added one mod in my Baldur's Gate 2 playthrough, which was being able to, as a male character, well, actually as any character... romance Herr Delise, the handsome tiefling bard, back when tieflings were just basically blue-skinned elves, not the fun, like, cool, sexy devil people that they are in the D&D world people know and love today. But that was done by Aaron from spellholdstudios.net, so I just want to give a little shout-out there for making my playthrough in Baldur's Gate a more rich and fun experience, and for a little credit as inspiration for some of the ratings here in the story.
Yeah, always giving credit is fantastic. Hopefully they know. Ryan, I mean, we can start with you if you want, and we can get to Celeste, who might have the best experience. We've gone through this before. Your memories of Baldur's Gate 2. Do you have any memories or any? I mean,
all of my memories of Baldur's Gate 2 are now this story that Celeste has written. Like, there is no that is for me the story of Baldur's Gate 2. I didn't play a ton of it. We went back one time and tried to play Baldur's Gate 1, I think with Celeste and some friends, and that's kind of the full experience of my time with Baldur's Gate. It is now just this story. This story is my memory of Baldur's Gate 2, and that's how it will stay.
I think I'm in the same boat. I don't know if I can experience Baldur's Gate 2 without Callius being a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, and I'm actually very thankful for that, because I feel like if I had a history with Baldur's Gate 2, it might be more like, I don't think it'd be hard to get into the story or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I think my inexperience with it, or my ignorance towards it, has allowed me to then become more appreciative to it, as well as embracing Callius as a true character in this narrative, right? Like, it's just...
You can, if you decide to play it, I can send you
the
files for the character, because making them in the game is just, fairly simple. But then, I've got those voice lines still in a Google Doc somewhere.
We should do like a live, like a streaming, the three of us, streaming the game together on like Twitch or something, and then having Callius be the main. That'd be so cool. That'd be really, really cool.
We should all play Baldur's Gate 3 together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the more we talk about it, the more screenshots I see and just like the videos, like it looks amazing.
I get the wonderful chance to play Dungeons and Dragons with Ryan at least 2 to 3 times a week, and Ryan Bauer here is a fantastic D&D player, as well as a immaculate dungeon master.
That's very kind.
And just like you see, like the story stuff he does here, like Ryan was, when I was first getting into D&D like 5 or so years ago, my friend introduced me to him. I was like, "Hi, can I join your D&D game? If you know there's room." Ryan's like, "Yeah, come on, join us." And I did, and that's where Calius the Humble was born. So
that's wild.
It's
all thanks to Ryan.
Thanks to Ryan. At the beginning of everything, is Ryan.
Even before the Storygoers, even before this session, they were just calling me out. Just giving me all kind of wonderful praise, just constantly.
Because you deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
If you want less praise, stop being as wonderful a person.
Be worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be worse. Yeah.
Be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like everybody else. Just be worse, please. And I'm curious, Ryan, if we ever get to the point in Tales where, like, if you ever someday somehow would had just this be our job, if you ever wanted to do your own D&D part of it.
Maybe doing actual play is a whole other ball game that would be so challenging. I think and also it is so, being a DM is so time consuming and takes so much. It's like for me, like the most enjoyable creative experience, but it is so much time and energy and work. And then on top of it, if you're a person who has like your brain wants things to be a very specific way, it's even more work because you want things to happen a certain way or go a certain way. And then when that butts up against your the other part of your brain that says, well, I don't really want to do that right now, it's just a challenge sometimes.
Yeah.
But it is really wonderful. That would be great. I think I would probably tap some other incredible folks if we ever got to that space.
It reminds me of like I haven't played D&D a ton, but the very first time I played, the DM had us like run into this like goblin, I think, and the goblin like clearly had information. Like we were basically told like you really should interrogate it. And one of the team members was like, I just want to hit him with my hammer. And the DM's like, I think you all should talk to your party member before he hits this goblin. And then we're all just like, well, he really wants to hit him. Like, and the goblin kind of came at us, so I feel like we want to respect him. James like, you really shouldn't do it. And then he's like, all right, you can roll. And then the person rolled, and like clearly it was like a not like a nat 20, but it was very, very high. And the team's like, all right, fine, you hit him with a hammer, you get no information. And we're like, awesome. Just like basically like, like so disappointed. Yeah.
That's where you learn important game design techniques, like put a note on the goblin. have other clues in the world, because your players are 100% going to either completely miss or completely misinterpret or just completely destroy some valuable information at some point.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you need to build in those redundancies.
Oppositional defiance really comes out in D&D. Somebody else with
We're just all playing out our that we don't get to do in our lives. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. 100. I would definitely be in that boat. I would 100. I think I played once before with you, Ryan, many years ago when I played a Batman-like character, and everyone was very frustrated with me for doing that voice for so long. And I was not supposed to throw a ninja star, and I did, and it ended up hitting.
It was great.
A goblin in the eye, and
it was great.
Everything I was told not to do, I did, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I go out to the real world, and I'm anxious about everything, and I'm like, I can't be oppositional. No, I mean, of course, Celeste, your feelings towards Baldur's Gate 2, would you please express them for us?
I mean, it's great because I actually really got interested in the games when they announced, years ago, and this, for the pandemic and everything, it's why, it's all been so long. But I was like, I've never played like these old games, and I'd really by that time gotten a lot into D&D, and so I was really like craving more, and then wanted to see what these things are, and then somehow I got the brilliant idea of like, oh, I can just make my D&D character in this D&D game. And that heightened the whole experience a long way, because I already knew Callius very well by that point. So it was very fun to watch. Because I think I remember I started a playthrough with just some random new person I made and kind of got bored pretty quick. But I was like, oh, if I play as my boy, then that just made it such a fun time, because it's like I know how they're going to act and what they're going to try and do. And you get all that time through all the twists and turns of everything. So yeah, I really went into these Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 like not knowing a lot about them and not knowing much, and it's like they have that really fun kind of like old early 2000s like schmaltzy cheesy fantasy vibe, where the villain is just this big fucking spike armor wearing dude, or just some like evil BDSM wizard. And it was all because I was like, I want to be ready before Baldur's Gate 3 comes out, and I did. And I'm glad I got to be a part of these games and experience the really just rich experience that is the games with the story and the characters involved, and seeing learning what the hell Thaco is for our old D&D fans there, because these games are so old, they're built on like basically second edition Dungeons and Dragons. So now I'm like, wait, you have to roll a lower number to hit them now. That's better.
What?
like eventually you get like your armor class is like negative because it's a whole different thing. I still don't really get it. But the good thing is they designed the game so it's like, oh, equipment give better number now green. Equipment give worse number now red. I was like, okay, I can understand this. This is accessible.
You colorblind?
To me.
Too bad.
So
do you guys feel? I'm trying to think like from like, because you guys have so much experience in D&D and role playing like that. Like, do you find that playing a character that encompasses you and your moral and like virtual aspects is like a benefit to you, or do you find that seeking or playing a character that does not necessarily represent you as a person, is that a way to kind of like find more about yourself or to embrace other aspects of you that you wouldn't normally show in society? You know what I mean?
Oh, 1,000%. As Ryan can attest to, as he plays alongside my very shameless self-insert characters and everything I go through with them. Yeah, because especially like my D&D power fantasy is to just like help everyone all the time and make sure everyone is just safe and happy. Which is also Ryan can attest to doesn't always fucking happen in our games. Oh boy, oh no. But then you get to work through that trauma, which is fun too. You get a nice safe environment to just work out your deepest, darkest fucking emotions and cry with your friends. And that's, that's my joy in life really, is to just spend 3 hours a week just crying with my friends. But yeah, I think I kind of joke with like my friends where, a lot of other people we play with will like turn over characters a little more often or just get really excited by the idea of like making like a new D&D character to throw in the story and see how they do. I also have this horrible habit of somehow my characters always survive when everyone else dies. Like Callius is the last plank of the ship of Theseus that was our original D&D party.
Wow.
And so like that's happened in this campaign that Ryan and I are currently playing in too. So I almost like I really get attached to my characters because I wanna see them get through this whole story, especially when they're the last one carrying like the start of this narrative. They just accidentally become the main character.
The survivor's guilt. You're like, no, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna live.
I swear to God.
Because it's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to end.
It's just me at work all day, just thinking about that. Wow, it's a time. But that's what therapy's for. So.
There you go. Honestly, D&D. I mean, this is a very big statement. I feel like D&D was like group therapy before group therapy was a thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then now it's kind of like morphed into this. It was like, what better way to express yourself, be vulnerable, use your supports for support, and just embrace who you are as a person, or find different aspects about yourself that you never knew you had. Like, is absolutely fantastic. It's so cool. But yeah, I think we've had a lot of interest in this story. So Celeste, as always, thank you so much for coming and you do so much for this story. Like I don't want to speak for you, Ryan, but I feel like we're probably on the same boat and saying like, you're fantastic. And thank you so much for so much of all that you do for the podcast. So much fun. Yeah. Well, great. Do we need, for those who probably already listened, if you haven't listened to the other parts of Baldur's Gate 2, then please go back and listen because they're fantastic. You should. Do you want to do a story catch up, or should we just jump right into it?
Go listen to those other ones.
Yeah, that sounds like the most appropriate. Yeah.
My throat still hurts from a year ago.
Still recovering.
I can't write a short script for the life.
Oh, it's so hard. It is so difficult. It really, truly is. It really, truly is.
Just be me when I'm like, Ryan, like 60 pages is fine for this script, right? Like I think I've condensed it to a short 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
The Storygoers, we hope that you enjoy this coming story of Baldur's Gate 2, Part 3. I'm going to keep messing it up. Celeste, please take it away.
Chapter 4. Hello, dear friends. 'Tis I, Callius the Humble. I come to you now, on the darkest of days, for a terrible villain hath seen me brought low by his dastardly schemes. My very soul hath been wrenched from twixt my mortal coil. My body is cold, and my heart is as empty as the stone pit that I've been left to die in. All of my strength, even the very memory of strength, has abandoned me. Oh, what woes have befallen this humble bard. The wretched, vile, duplicitous John Irenicus is now somewhere above, running around with my immortal soul, which he had ripped from me with his dark and foul magics. I had come to save my sister Imowen from Irenicus's foul clutches, but had walked straight into a devious trap. I sat here now, falling in and out of consciousness. The also unconscious bodies of my companions lay around me in the dark. I was wrenched back into the waking world by strong, muscular arms. My eyes opened to see my ranger companion, Minsk, and his trusty friend, the hamster Boo, staring down at me, eyes watering. Oh, another comrade has fallen to the clutches of evil villainy. Have you not taken enough for your feel evil? When will you be sated? Boo, see if you can resuscitate him. My dearest Minsk, I'm afraid all my bodily strength has left me, and my very spirit itself is beyond my grasp. I'm not sure how much longer I'll be here. Minsk stifled a heaving sob. Before I could respond, Herr Delis appeared to me in both his handsomeness and his bardic skills, rushed to my side, cradling my head within his lap. He pushed my hair from my face gently. He held my gaze with his piercing, beautiful eyes.
My dearest Raven, please do forgive this sparrow for being unable to protect you.
Viconia, our party's dark elf cleric, glared down as if offended by all the noise, her expression sour. Oh, stop your whining and get up already. I am embarrassed to be present for your pathetic mewling. Jahira, my long-time friend and guardian, was also unamused. While I often find your theatrics charming, Callius, surely we have more pressing matters to attend to. Oh, you're absolutely right, Jahira. I'm not dead yet. A laugh came from a stone platform above us, well out of reach. A tall woman with grey skin and black hair peered down at us with blood-red eyes. Her fanged smile glinted in delectable glee. It was Bodhi, Irenicus's vampire sister.
Yet, being the lingering factor, I'm afraid your life shan't be a worry for much longer. A pity you have proven resilient beyond all expectations. It is appealing to me.
Appealing enough that you should allow me to live?
Not quite, though I am willing to postpone your death for the sake of my own amusement. Your abilities have piqued my interest, and since you are to die, I would love to have you do so in an entertaining fashion.
Do your worst, Bodhi. I do not fear you.
You should. You must run my gauntlet to prolong your life. It is the darkest part of this asylum, a test of clarity for its prisoners. Now that my brother and I have taken it, that place is mine to control. It is a masterpiece of madness, one that you shall come to know intimately. It has been some time since I have given chase to a worthy foe. Enter the maze of this place and seek an exit. I give you time to run, after which I will come to feed. The hunt begins.
In a shriek of laughter, Bodhi vanished into a dark fog. In the corner of our prison, I saw Imowen, alive and awake. Tears welled in her eyes as she moved towards me. I met her and clasped her in a tight embrace.
I'm sorry, Callius. I was just so worried.
Never mind that. Are you hurt? What did he do to you?
I don't know, really. Same thing he did to you, I guess. We are the same. Callius, he showed me what you are and what I am. Children of Baal. And then he took it away. I don't know who I am now.
Pang of regret stung in my heart. How could I have missed that Imowen was a child of the god of murder, like me? She had always felt like a sister to me, but now it seems that connection was more real than ever.
You may not feel it yet, but his spell has made me feel hollow. He took something vital. He says it was my divine soul. I found out I'm a child of a god, and now I'm empty and dying.
We'll survive by helping each other, like you helped me in the dream during the spell. Irenicus's ritual had sent me to a dreamlike version of our home in Candlekeep. There, Imowen came to me and helped me face an aspect of Baal, our father, who sought to slay me there.
The dream? Callius, I had no dream during my ritual. Just blackness, and my will draining away. Did it affect you differently than me? You've been dealing with Baal's essence longer, but perhaps you are more focused. Perhaps it's more focused on you?
What do you mean? We are the same now that you were aware of being a Baal spawn, aren't we?
I don't know. You're describing something very different than what I experienced. Whatever the case, we're faced with a similar fate. I'm getting weaker, Callius. It's only been a few days since they performed the ritual on me. If Bodhi was serious about giving us time, getting out of here, and getting back to Irenicus, maybe our only chance at living. If we don't reverse what was done, if we don't restore our souls, we'll both probably die.
Then we should leave right now. No more wasted time. We bandaged our remaining wounds and checked stock on our supplies. Luckily, Bodhi let us keep our weapons and equipment. She probably considered us all more of a challenge if we were near our full strength. With no other path before us, we traversed into the dark caverns of Bodhi's gauntlet. The dim tunnels cradled silence, nestled within pitch darkness, which Jahira dispersed when she summoned a bead of sunlight to illuminate the path. We moved until we spotted a light up ahead, and the tunnel opened into a room with a tall statue sporting many faces, likely our first test. I signaled to the party that I would enter first, and as I stepped inside, the statue's eyes glowed with magic and spoke with a voice that I could hear in my mind.
Face this face and answer you. Exit with the answers that free. Pain is the price of failure.
Aha! A statue of riddles, I see. I was relieved for a test of the mind, as my body still felt like it had been trampled by a stampede of owlbears.
Yes, to pass this threshold, thou must possess the sharpest of minds and the fiercest of wits. Few prove they are worthy to move beyond.
All right, I'll give it my best shot.
Of all of your possessions, I am the hardest to guard. If you have me, you will want to share me. If you share me, you will no longer have me.
That one is tricky. Ah, I have it. A secret.
Your answer is satisfactory. Next round. The life I lead is mere hours or less. I serve all of my time by being consumed. I am quickest when thin, slowest when fat, and wind is the bane of the gift I bring.
Another tough one. Oh, I'll have to go with a candle.
Your answer is satisfactory. Next round. The more there is, the less that you see. Squint, all you.
Darkness.
I was not finished.
Oh, my apologies. It wasn't darkness then?
Your answer is satisfactory. Next round. I am free for the
Breath.
Your answer is satisfactory. Lighter than
Ice.
they come.
Stars. Fish.
You,
Shadows.
holes.
A sponge. Can we keep this moving? I have places to be.
Your answers are satisfactory. You may pass.
The statue rumbled and rose magically off of the floor, revealing a tunnel behind. The rocky passage continued until the ground became flat and smooth. The light revealed a perfectly cut hallway made from stone. The ceiling, walls, and floor were all smooth as glass. Likely the next obstacle of Bodhi's gauntlet, however unassuming it may seem. Be careful, everyone. This chamber looks innocuous, but it is likely trapped. Keep your guards up and... Enough talk! Evil must be faced, face to face, followed by face to boot. Boo, you stay here and guard the others. Don't let them out of your sight. Boo squeaked affirmatively as the little hamster was tossed upon my shoulder. Meanwhile, I march forward too. After Minsk took his second step into the hallway, an earth-shattering slam hit as the left wall suddenly closed to meet the right, and Minsk disappeared between them. After a moment, in our stunned silence, the stone wall scraped slowly back into place, unveiling a bloody and crushed Minsk upon the ground. Minsk! No! Viconia! You're a cleric of Shar. You must have some type of resurrection magics. Please, hurry. I have one diamond for such a spell. I was hoping to save it, in case we lost one of the more useful members of this lot. I still tolerate Jahira for her healing magics, barely, and I would revive her at least, lest we all fall prey to your dramatic wailings at your beloved's demise. But the blessings of Shar were not meant for simpletons like him. Please, Viconia, we cannot go on without Minsk. Just think of poor little Boo, all alone in the world. I cradled the hamster in my hands. Boo's eyes looked up at Viconia, welling with tears. Oh, all right. Cease your pathetic simpering. I'll revive the lummox. Viconia produced a brilliant, shining diamond from her satchel, and it illuminated with bright, magical light. The shadows around us grew deeper, and Viconia's eyes shrouded black as she began the incantation. Dark murmurs snaked around us as tendrils of darkness swirled into a vortex around Minsk's lifeless body. With a thunderous boom and a flash of blinding light, silence fell again amongst the chamber. After our vision cleared, we could see Minsk, healthy and uncrushed, unconscious on the ground. Viconia slapped Minsk hard across the face, the sound echoing down the chamber. Minsk shot up with a heavy gasp. Aha! Minsk has survived your encounter, deadliest of walls. With the might of righteousness on our side, we cannot be stopped. Boo! Are the others still safe? The hamster squeaked affirmative in response. Good work! I knew I could count on you, my furry friend. Let us press forward! Minsk leapt to standing in a single hop and pivoted to continue down the hall. Hedalise grabbed Minsk's collar and dragged him back after the first step, just barely saving him as the wall collided inward again with a thunderous smash. Oh, ho, ho, a trap! You are a sneaky one, Evil, but Minsk's companions have sniffed out your deadly stench. We shall not be so easily tricked.
How are we going to get across now?
We do have spells of haste we can use, but I don't think that would be fast enough.
Well, I did pick up these boots of speed in my travels. Stolen them off a stingy merchant. Could you cast one of your haste spells on me as well?
That's an awfully risky venture. Even if you do make it, we only have your pair of boots. How would we get everyone across? Imoen gave me a sly smirk and wiggled her fingers. A spectral vision of her own hand appeared in the air, wiggling likewise. She pinched her fingers, and the hand pinched its own onto her boot. All right, let's try it. Hedalise cast his haste spell on Imoen, and I watched her concentrate to activate the boots magics as well. Readying herself, she shot off in a sprint. She zoomed far into the chamber before the wall slammed again. My heart shot up as Imoen left my sight again, and I pushed down the thoughts of losing her so soon after rescuing her. The wall scraped slowly back into position, but on the far side, next to the door, stood Imoen, waving her arm. She slipped her boots off, and her spirit hand plucked them up, hovering back towards us. Moments later, the boots landed in my arms. The spirit hand gave a courteous wave, and then vanished. All right, I'll go next. Minsk will send you after. Hedalise, do you have enough magic to send the others through?
Aye, my raven, I suspect I do, although my magical capabilities will be rather spent for the day. But never fear, for you can still trust in my blades.
I put on Imoen's boots and felt the tingle of Hedalise's magics dance over me. With a breath, I sprinted to the other side and stopped suddenly as Imoen caught me, the thunderous boom of the wall closing behind me, shaking the room. I caught my breath, and Imoen sent the boots back across. As they traveled, I carefully opened the door into the next chamber, eager to have an idea of what our next challenge might be. The other end of the darkened chamber was in clear sight, as dim torchlight shone on either side of the doorway. However, inside I could see dozens of sarcophagi, long dormant tombs of bodies long ago laid to rest, likely once the tortured souls of the Spellhold Asylum, patients of the cowled wizards who ran this place before John Arenicus staged a coup from within. We would need to pass through such a place quietly, but I had no doubt that my party and I could make it through with our stealth and tact. Coming through! A blur rushed past as Minsk sprinted like a lightning bolt past me and Imoen, through the door and into the next chamber. I winced at the sound of a large crash inside. Ha ha! Oh, Minsk has never felt such great speeds! Are you still with me, Boo? The hamster scurried out from behind Minsk's shoulder as he lay amongst the shattered remains of a stone sarcophagus. Luckily, these stones were here to brace my impact. Look, they were even filled with soft bandages to cushion the blow. Now that is forward thinking. Minsk held up a string of old, rotten bandages. The rubble beneath him shuddered as a mummified hand broke through. Minsk shot up and cleaved his blade into the arm, ending its movements. However, the sounds of shifting stone lids grew around him. Haunted screeching of long-dead mummies crescendoed in the dusty chamber. Hurry, Imoen! Send the boots back! We have to get the others across! Imoen's spectral hand carried her boots back across. The mummies crawled out from their tombs and dropped to the floor, their bones creaking and cracking as they stood. Minsk readied his weapon as the undead shuffled towards him. He sliced through the first two, but a dozen more soon came behind, threatening to overwhelm him. Imoen's boots arrived back at the others. Straggling mummies noticed our presence, however, and began shuffling towards Imoen and I. "Hedalise, we have undead over here! Send Viconia next!" Viconia's holy abilities would make quick work of these once living corpses. We just had to wait for reinforcements. I watched Hedalise catch the boots, and I turned to face the approaching mummies. Ha-ha! I threw a pocket of glitter dust to blind the aging dead, but forgot that most of their eyes had already desiccated from their skulls. The mummies continued unimpeded. With a rush of wind and another slam of the walls, Jahira arrived with us. "What? Jahira, I'm most happy at your arrival, but I have requested Viconia, as she has a specialty in dealing with the undead here." Jahira shot me a harsh glance, but held her tongue. "Don't underestimate the powers of nature, Calius the Humble." Mummies hissed through their dry throats as they charged. Jahira opened her arms wide, and the rush of a summer wind blew past us. Thick vines grew and burst from the ground to entangle the feet of the mummies. Some of their ankles snapped as they fell into the writhing vines. However, the mummies still kept persistent in their efforts towards us. Jahira pulled off the boots of speed, and Imoen lifted them back across with her magic. Jahira strained to hold the vines as mummies poured in through the doorway, pressing us dangerously close to the crushing walls behind us. I jabbed at one of their decaying faces with my rapier, spearing it through the skull, but it kept its march onward. One of the mummies lunged at me, and I sprang backward with a very manly, heroic yelp, and bumped into Imoen in the process. The concentration on her magic was interrupted, and a spectral hand fizzled, dropping the boots in the center of the hallway, halfway across. Viconia and Hedalise still waited on the other side.
Callius, my spell dropped.
"We have to get those boots somehow, but the walls will crush us." "Fear not, for no matter how old and decrepit the evil, it cannot hold back a hero's might." Minsk pummeled through the wrapped corpses, cracking mummy skulls with his bare shoulders. He kicked and punched and even bit his way through the undead. "This looks like a job for a miniature giant space hamster. Go, Boo!" Minsk gracefully tossed the little Boo through the air, sailing past Imoen, Jahira, and I back into the trapped hallway. With his diminutive size, Boo did not set off the pressure plates to release the crushing walls. He skittered and scampered towards the boots of speed. Minsk bludgeoned his way into the doorway and braced himself with his limbs in each corner, halting the mummy's advance. Jahira blasted past Minsk's body with motes of sunlight, and I gave the crusted ne'er-do-wells a scathing bout of insults. Minsk's muscles held as dozens of mummies pushed against his back, his fingers and boots cracking into the stone doorframe. Boo picked up the boots in his hamster teeth and scurried back to Viconia, who swiftly donned them. Hedalise's magic sent the drow priestess racing through the hallway, making it just before the walls slammed behind her. Holding her holy symbol of Shar, goddess of darkness and pain, around her neck, Viconia's eyes grew covered in shadow once more. "In the name of Shar, return back to the dark rest from whence you came." A pulse of shadow burst forth from Viconia's body, striking the mummies and turning their bandages and bones to dust, scattering in the shockwave. A cloud of dust was all that remained of the wakened dead. As the trap wall settled one last time, Imoen sent the boots back to Hedalise, who promptly sped across to rejoin us. He caught me as he stopped, spinning me in his arms. Oh, well, glad you could make it. I do hope the magic wasn't too much of an expenditure." Hedalise sighed, exhaustion peeking through his eager smile.
I need a night's rest, and the sparrow shall be good as new, my raven. Tarry not on my account."
Viconia pushed past us harshly and made for the exit. "Once again I find myself pulling the weight of this entire party behind me. Let us continue so we may be done with this place. We marched through dark catacombs, old pathways of damp stone riddled with cobwebs. The light felt especially low here, the darkness threatening to bite down and swallow you whole. Only Jahira's dappled boat of sunlight let us see our hands in front of our eyes. A familiar, sinister voice came through the shadows.
Here, mousie, mousie, the hunt draws to a close here and now.
I called out into the dark. Come now, Bodhi. There must be something I can do to appease you. Her voice came from all around, sourceless. My ears picked up the sounds of more feet. She was not alone.
I know I'm here early, but I just couldn't bear to see you leave. You are amusing, but the game is over. One last time, let our paths cross in blood.
In a blink, Bodhi appeared from the shadows and dashed towards me. Before my rapier left its sheath, her claws sliced through my chest. Blood sprayed across the walls. Imoen shouted and launched a sphere of sparkling energy in my defense. Bodhi retreated unharmed, smiling. I fell to one knee, clutching my wounds as vampire servants breached the darkness, licking the delicious taste of blood in the air. Two rushed at me in pincer formation, ready to kill. Minsk's shoulder slammed one into the wall before they could get to me. Herdelis met the other's claws with a flourish of his blades. Others swarmed in, but Jahira strengthened her sunlight, causing them to cover their eyes, hissing. Bodhi stepped towards me, unbothered by Jahira's light, her eyes shining like a cat with a trapped mouse. Imoen stepped in to block her path, but Bodhi flung her aside like a paperweight. I readied my crossbow, but before I could loose a shot, Bodhi plunged her claws deep into my heart. A wicked smile curled upon her lips as she thrust even deeper. She laughed as I coughed up blood. She brought her face to mine, savoring the moment. A confident smirk stretched on her face. The sight of her pale smile faded out as my life left me. A terrible chill swept over me as I felt myself die. No, I thought to myself, I have come too far to let this be the end. I grabbed Bodhi's arm, wrist deep into my chest, and she cackled at the futile gesture. Something surged from within me, something angry and dark. Bodhi's smile fell as she felt the sudden strength I gripped her with. Anger boiled in my veins, and blood steamed from my fresh wounds. With a growl, I pulled her hand out of my chest. She now tried to pull away, confused as she could not rip herself from my grasp.
What is this?
Shadows along the walls deepened and collected around me. Bodhi fought back, but moved no further from me. The fear on her face dripped into me like a sweet nectar. Now it was my turn to laugh. My body began to swell, muscles bulging. My nails sharpened into dagger-like claws. My teeth snapped into fangs. My skin boiled into scales made of shadow, and spikes burst forth from each limb. Bodhi recoiled in horror as her wrist was held in my gnarled talons. I launched her down the hallway like throwing a rag doll. Her body cracked the stone wall and landed hard on the floor. Before Bodhi's underlings could shake their surprise, I tore one of their heads clean from their shoulders, and they puffed into a harmless vapor. Bodhi pushed herself off of the floor, her face locked in horror.
A creature of pure death and darkest shadow. Child of Baal, what have you become? Away. Irenicus must know of this. We will observe from a distance.
Before the others could run, I rushed forward. My claws ran clean through one of the vampire's hearts and out their back. They gurgled on their blood like a sweet melody. Another I bit into with crushing jaws, bursting their ribcage in a snap like a percussive symphony. With her underlings destroyed, I looked back to Bodhi, wondering what beautiful music I might make with her. She flashed into the shape of a bat and fled. I gave a mighty roar, so that she might never forget my anger, my power. May the memory haunt her for all her days, for everything she has done to me, for all the hurt she caused us, me and Imoen. I turned back to see my party, my companions, my form towering over them. Their faces gave way to shock and dread. At first, I felt confusion. We were victorious. What were they afraid of? Then their fear struck deep inside me. I stumbled, and the room began to spin. I woke up sometime later on the floor, Imoen cradling my head in her lap. Her eyes held deep concern.
Are you all right? I've never seen anything like that. Callius, that was the Slayer. It's one of the avatars of Baal. You became the Slayer.
Every nerve in my body screamed. Just breathing was pain. The what? How do you know that?
I've read the descriptions of the Slayer before. Callius, we've got to get our souls back from Bodhi. And Irenicus, you've been left empty, and it's affecting you differently than me.
I looked down to find the wound left from Bodhi's claws in my chest, perfectly healed. My silk tunic was ruined, but that was the least of our concerns. The others surrounded us, each several steps back and silent. None of them would look me in the eye. Even Herr Delis looked away, an uncharacteristic uncertainty covering his oft confident visage. Imoen helped me to stand shakily. Let's keep moving, my voice creaked out. We found the staircase leading upward, hopefully out of the asylum and to our freedom. The climb was tiring and quiet. No one spoke after the fight with Bodhi. I did my best to lead, but grew ever more weary with each step. I stopped, crouched on the crumbling stone steps to catch my breath. My companions continued past. Viconia passed briskly without a glance, her steely gaze fixed ahead. Jahira's brow was wound taut with tension, but she kept her words inside, stoic as an unbending tree. Minsk simply had a sad look, as if someone had spoken an unkind word. Boo cowered and shivered on his shoulder. Herr Delis stopped for but a moment to offer a pained glance, but did not reach out a hand to help. Imoen bent down and put my arm over her shoulder and hoisted me up. We walked together upon the winding stairs. We entered the laboratory chamber where hours before Irenicus had plucked my very soul. But the cold metal room was far from empty now. Yoshima, once our friend until he betrayed us to Irenicus, stood to face us, blades drawn. Half a dozen of Irenicus's assassins flanked him from behind, similarly armed. Yoshima's look was grim and determined.
There you are. I see. Why do you continue to resist? You are dead inside already. Irenicus has seen to it. He has left me here to finish your physical shell, as it seems his sister has failed to do so.
Yoshima, how could you do this? We had traveled so long together. How could you serve a monster like Irenicus? A pained sadness marred Yoshima's face.
I can't fight it, Callius. I can't. I was in Aranicus' service before we met, and all those that follow him must undergo a geisha spell, a magical compulsion. I was willing at the time, but now? Do you know what happens when you try to defy such magic? It hurts. It hurts, and then you die. His spells are powerful, Callius. So powerful.
I can help you, Yoshimo. It doesn't have to be like this.
I believe it does. I can wither and die for failing to kill you. Or I can fall in battle and pray that my heart will find purchase in ill matter. No redemptions, no second chances. Let us get this over with. I stride into the hell that Aranicus promised. Ill matter take my heart, I have no choice.
I moved behind my party for cover, still wounded and exhausted from my transformation. Callius stepped in to close the opening between Yoshimo and I, his blades shielding me from harm. The rest of the party kept the assassins occupied. Yoshimo leapt for Callius, both pairs of blades clashing. Their swords rang in a symphony of steel, but Yoshimo fought like a man with his life on the line, and he moved with fresh agility. Callius, noting his sagging speed, conjured illusions of himself surrounding Yoshimo.
Your illusions will not save you, Callius. My blade will only meet Calius the Humble. Leave him to me, and I may spare your life.
I'm afraid I have to decline your offer, Yoshimo. If my dance ends here, so be it. But this sparrow still seeks to fly alongside his raven, even if but a little longer.
Yoshimo sliced with whirling fury, banishing Callius's illusions with swift strokes of his blades. Yoshimo growled, unable to find the real bard. His eyes turned back to catch me. Yoshimo dashed past the many Calliuses and leapt at me. I saw the fury and death in his eyes. I could hope to parry one sword, but not two. I covered my eyes before the sound of steel piercing leather and flesh ripped into the room. But I opened my eyes to find Yoshimo's swords had not landed. I had not been harmed. Yoshimo stood before me, his eyes wide. Blood began to trickle down the front of his armor. Callius appeared, an invisibility spell fading, revealing his blade plunged through Yoshimo's chest. Callius removed his weapon with one fluid motion, and Yoshimo fell to his knees. I caught him and held Yoshimo's head in my lap as he gave his dying words.
Aranicus, he fled through the portal. Please, I am...
Gasped his last breath and fell limp in my arms. Viconia blasted an assassin apart with fire, and Jahira blinded the others with sunlight while Minsk cut them down. Yoshimo's body still lay in my arms, cold and lifeless. He had been a stalwart companion and a trusted friend. I knew what I must do. My party members shrieked in horror as I cut out Yoshimo's heart. By the branches of Sylvanus Callius, what are you doing? What? He said very specifically, and I quote, Ilmater, take my heart. So I'm helping him get his heart to Ilmater, so that he might find redemption with his god in the afterlife.
My raven, while I admire your devotion to our once beloved compatriot, perhaps you need not hold such fervent devotion too literally.
Heedless of my friends, I gingerly dropped Yoshimo's heart in a sack for safekeeping. I would not leave Yoshimo's prayers unanswered, even in death. The machines in the chamber were dark and lifeless. The room was empty of the hum of electricity. The portal Yoshimo had motioned to was now inactive, but it seemed to still be functioning. Toggling around with strange knobs and levers, I fiddled with the device until a blast of light struck. A swirling portal had opened. To where it went, I knew not. Only that Aranicus and Bodhi had gone through, Imoen's soul and mine with them as well. With no other choice afforded us, we dived together into the portal.
Oh my! Oh, are we stopping for talking? Can we stop for talk?
Yeah,
There's so much we gotta talk about.
That was a good breaking point for that.
Can I, Celeste? Are you comfortable if I sing your praises for a moment? Is that okay?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. As some people are not okay, and that's totally okay. But I want to make sure.
Attention? Oh no.
I love not only. I want to double check to make sure before I say this. Callius's class is technically Bard, correct?
Yes.
Yes, just making sure. Which again goes to my point here. I love that Callius, like we talked about before. Callius is kind of this. He's not this typical, not typical, but like he's not like the warrior going straight into bar. Like Callius uses his words, and he's so meticulous of what he says, and he has such a personality. I love though during his transformation into the Slayer, the way you described the killing of Bodhi's bodyguards, and the symphony and the music they create for Callius as the Slayer, I thought was such a great way of mending his love of being a bard and music into that carnage and destruction. I thought you the way you described it was amazing. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. I will give myself a pat on the back because I did feel clever when I wrote that.
It was fantastic. It was such a great way of incorporating. I think. Tell me what you think, please. Incorporating Callius's love of music in theatrics and just finding that musical sense in that act of like ferocity and death. Very cool. I loved it. It was such a he did. Callius kind of I would say like lost himself in that moment, but then that essence of his love of music kind of came through still. To me, it seems like at least.
Yeah, it's this very interesting part in the story where in the game that transformation just suddenly happens to your character. You have no control over that, and they just become just this monster of a force that just starts ripping through everyone. And it was just this very big drama point in the story. Whereas in the games, you know the two like main choices are do you resist the temptation of your heritage as a child of murder? Do you push that away as you become a noble, stalwart hero defending the peoples of the land, or do you give in to it? Do you let the temptations of that power and the glorious revelry of that carnage just consume you?
Yeah.
And I thought for Callius is very much going with the former choice. That's a big drama point to kind of just almost have that overtaken.
Right. Especially after that pivotal moment as Bodhi's like her hand is in his chest, like through it, right? Like and like my jaw dropped. I don't know if you guys saw this when you're reading Celeste, like I was like, how does Callius come back from that? Like it just seemed like a moment I was like, as for Bodhi, that makes a lot of sense. She's not going to play fair. You know what I mean? She's going to tease and then do whatever she wants to kill Callius, move on. But I love how that turns around on her, and Callius now has discovered this new part of himself, which sounds like a lot of people are not loving or feeling very uncomfortable with. It's surprising even Minsk and Boo, who I just favorite characters of this. I just love Minsk and Boo so much. But even Minsk's sadness, being able to just be so evident on his face, I think is just so imperative. Because Minsk could do anything for Callius, and to see him in that shape, I think really says a whole lot for that character. Yeah. Wow. And also, I want to sing your praises because I love your voices for Minsk and Jaheira. Just so good.
They're all very incredible. They're all incredible.
Yeah. They're all, yes, sorry. They are
but yes,
all incredible.
definitely those are, yeah.
Yeah. It's just very good. Ryan, how are you feeling after
I mean, I think
3?
I certainly want to echo part 3. I certainly want to echo chapter 4 part 3. I certainly want to echo what you were saying. The writing is incredible. The way at which it is so visual and so transformative in the way that it is written. And then it also feels, which this is something that is incredibly difficult to do, that like there is a voice because Callius is telling the story. Like you were saying, Eric, there is like a voice that carries through to all of this, and it feels like it is being told from that perspective in an incredibly genuine way that is so difficult to do, that is so well done. And it makes these stories so elevated and so much more meaningful, where a lot of times when we try to, as best we can, like take stories that don't have a lot there and add to them in a way that you are so good at, Celeste. It's incredible. And I guess then going back to the story itself, it is such an, like, what a perfect arc and dramatic moment for that character to go through. And the worst thing that Callius could experience is like nothing from their friends, right? No words of it's going to be okay. Like, they are terrified of this person who cares so much about them. And it is such a cool and interesting character arc that I'm really excited to see where it goes. And man, so many echoes of Baldur's Gate 3 and a lot of this too, which is so cool as well. Not to spoil anything, but yeah, it's Celeste. I don't know how you get a job in doing this, but you're so good at it. So incredibly good at it. If there was a way we could get you there, it would you're just so good at this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I take all my little fun compliments from you guys and I just put them on a little shelf in my heart. I thought I just opened that up and I'm like, oh yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
In the part when Yoshimo, I feel for Yoshimo. I truly do. I feel like Yoshimo is a tragic character, and his fight with Herr Delis, was that a part of the game, or was that your choice, Celeste, to have that play out the way it did? Because I love that Herr Delis, though very feeling very conflicted with what's going on with Callius, still his actions kind of define his feelings in that moment, and he's honest too. He wants to have moments with Callius as long as he can. But then his actions to fight and then ultimately kill Yoshimo, I think really speaks to Herr Delis' true feelings for Callius, despite the conflict that Herr Delis is facing.
Absolutely. Yeah, because as y'all know, the a lot of the dialogue in this I've just kind of ripped out from the game. So where I get to really try to shine with my own voice in writing it is just through all of the narration and the fight scenes in this. I really tried to, because in the game it's like it looks like a bunch of Minecraft people from 30 feet away all just kind of smashing on each other with some various particle effects coming through, while a text roll at the bottom of the screen says like, this person attacks that person, this person casts this spell, this person takes 4 fire damage. And so it's not as like cinematic and riveting to like watch. So it's like, yeah, you come back, and if you brought Yoshimo with you, he's there to fight at this point in time. And so I just really try to focus on like who's, because there's, it's a lot of fighting. It's a D&D story, and it's an action adventure. So I try to look at each thing through the story and think like, who's got like a good beat here. And I just like that idea of Callius is just like, he's had his soul ripped out, he's had the shit kicked out of him, he just transformed into a terrible dark monster. It's like, he's exhausted, he's not fighting here. Even on a good day, Callius is not a melee fighter, so a dude with 2 swords running at him is like, no, I need to leave, yes please, goodbye. I thought that was a really good spot where Herr Delis is a bard, but one who is more, his skill set is very strong experience in like getting up front, melee fighting, and swordplay. He died so many times when I played the game because he's still as squishy as a bard, but you just pop a haste spell on him and he does like 3 attacks per second, and it's a fun time. But yeah, I thought Herr Delis, his character, even with any doubts that he has with this dark revelation of Callius and the Slayer, it's still going to come to his aid. It's not going to just let him get killed there. So I liked them fighting where Herr Delis has his swordplay and his magic, where Yoshimo is like a straight up, full-fledged like fighter. Chapter 5. I waited for my vision to clear from the bright vortex of the portal, as well as for the magical vertigo to subside. Once my eyes adjusted, I could see we were were somewhere dark, underground. The rest of my party fell in behind me, exiting from the portal's magic. The rocky walls of massive caverns surrounded us, lit only by glowing fungi dotting the terrain. This place was no mere cave dungeon, however. This was the Underdark. I remembered the legends of adventurers traveling leagues beneath the surface of civilization to this wild and deadly place. Dark and terrible creatures of alien origin rummaged through the tunnels and caves of the Underdark, to say nothing of the vile stories elves on the surface had of their gray-skinned counterparts here. As a drow herself, Viconia's face tightened with recognition as she took in the familiar surroundings. So, I am in my homeland once again. Already I feel how unwelcome it has become. My eyes are no longer used to its darkness, and my senses hint at the threat around every corner. We must tread with caution, Calius the Humble. There are, no doubt, other drow in this place, along with beholders, illithids, kuotoa, and perhaps even worse. The denizens here will expect no mercy and will offer none. If we are to survive long enough to find your Irenicus, we must be stronger than any of them. Our torches bore the only light, save for the occasional glowing mushrooms along the rocky walls, with the vanishing beads of eyes watching distantly in the dark. After a few hours marching over slippery rock and climbing jagged cliffs, a peculiar sound caught my ear. Something I had never expected in a place like this. A melody. I followed the sound of the tune and its iridescent melisma. It sounded like a bright sunrise to a new day, like the pure waters of a babbling brook with a fresh scent of a fine meal inside a quaint and comfy cottage. How I must know what creature weaves such beautiful music in this dark and dreary place. I wandered into a cave, my party following behind, where the song rang off the stone walls, beckoning with light deeper within. Before me, as I entered, I saw the sight of a silver dragon, its majestic scales gleaming.
Welcome. Welcome to my lair. I am known as Adalon. I have watched your progress with great interest.
Flabbergasted at the sight of a goodly dragon, I quickly composed myself and gave a generous bow. Well, I must be a grand sight if I interest the eyes of a silver dragon.
Do not presume to be in my good graces, Callius the Humble. I am not as tolerant as others of my kind. Listen well to what I say. I am the guardian of an ancient elven temple above us that marks the gateway to the Underdark. The two that you seek, this Bodhi and Irenicus, have made a deal with the drow for their own safe passage and offered a way to tip the scales against their elven enemy. I would have intervened had Irenicus not stolen my most prized possessions to bargain with the drow. They have taken my eggs.
Oh, vile creatures! Such a crime is unthinkable!
You must retrieve them for me. Do this, and I will grant you safe passage to leave the Underdark. You and your party will take the identity of a group of drow I have dispatched recently, one that was destined for the city of Ustnatha.
Jahira winced at the thought. To become a ruthless and cunning drow, I do not look forward to that. Viconia smirked. An improvement, I think, one that you should relish as a brief glimpse of your betters.
Silence. This is a very important matter, and I will not be interrupted. I will transform you, so you may pass among the drow with ease. I'm sure the drow you travel with now will serve as a fountain of knowledge in this endeavor.
Adalon's eyes shone bright with draconic magic. Our party, save for Viconia, was lifted into the air. Silver light danced around us, melding into an immaculate illusion. A moment later, and we were back on the ground, but we each had skin matching the gray, ashen complexion of Viconia, along with stark, white hair. Even Boo had become a darkened, fearsome gray hamster with blood-red eyes.
You may rest here, in my lair, this night, and leave in the morning.
With our dark elven disguises set, we set up camp in Adelon's lair that night. My body was exhausted, and I couldn't help but feel a deep emptiness inside me as I waited for sleep to take.
You came too late. Didn't I say you would come too late? You will learn to trust me.
Imoen's voice echoed around me. This was a dream. I was back in the libraries of Candlekeep again, where I grew up. Where we grew up. Last time I was here in my dreams, I had fought some aspect of the god Baal himself. Irenicus had worked his dark magics to rip my very soul from me. Imoen now stood there before me, as she had before.
Don't be afraid. You are safe here, if you behave. I will show you what fills the void, what is now free.
The tone in Imoen's voice was tinged with an oily sweetness. There was no hint of innocence, but a deeper shadow of hunger. You are not Imoen. She said she has not had any dreams like these. A long, haunting smile crept across Imoen's face, or whatever being this was using her visage. Figures walked in from the shadows of the library behind her. I saw the vague faces of my companions standing there.
I lurk behind your soul, in the very fiber of your being. I'm the only thing left when mind and reason are stripped away. I will show you what you can be and what you can do. If you simply let yourself become what you are, I can show you all of this because I am within. I am what fills the void. I am you.
Imoen roared, and her body transformed into a terrible, spiked monster. The Slayer sliced through Minsk and Jahira before they could land a blow. It silenced Viconia with a claw to her throat before she could finish her holy incantations. Herdelis brandished his dual swords, dodging the creature's strikes. But the Slayer pounced, and Herdelis could not avoid its massive form, his body crushed under the monster's weight. The Slayer morphed back into Imoen, a satisfied grin etching across her blood-stained face.
You are being given a gift. It is a valuable prize, one that you had better appreciate.
She motioned behind her to my slain friends.
You worry for your companions, perhaps. Leave them, abandon them, and become what you must. There is great power in your heritage. Use it, and you will become closer to what you are, what you could be. Feel what is in the void. Use the tools that you are being given. Become part of something greater. I am you, and I know what is best.
Bodhi and Irenicus walked in now, standing behind Imoen, eyes locked on me. Imoen smiled in ecstasy as she grew into the Slayer again.
Each time you use it, each time you accept it, you move a little closer to the murder within. Perhaps you will lose yourself in the end, but you'll go to a greater reward than you can know. After all, what does an eternity of nothingness matter when you can destroy all that oppose you as easy as one?
She swiped through Bodhi, cleaving her in half.
2.
Another swipe crumpled Arenicus's body like nothing. The Slayer turned back, its hungry maw focused on me.
3.
And the Slayer lunged for me. I woke up in a cold sweat, chest heaving. Herr Delise lay next to me, already awake. Oh, excuse me. Don't mind me. I just had some nasty dreams about witches. Yes, evil, cruel witches with boiling cauldron and spiders in their hair. Live in the swamp, all that stuff. Herr Delise gave only a quizzical look.
Are you afraid?
Of what?
Anything. Everything. Irenicus, this place, your thoughts. Arriving too late?
I dropped my pretense to speak plainly. I'm afraid of all of it, and more.
I am fearful as well. This darkness feels much like the bars of a great cage. Even this eternal black pales in comparison to the shadow that's in your eyes. Do not think me blind to you, Callius. I see you. I am struck with fear. Fear for you.
You mean fear of me? I'm a monster.
No, never, my raven. You must never say such things. Once you believe it, it will become truth, and that is a terrifying prospect.
He leaned over and took my hands in his.
You are Calius the Humble, strong and courageous. Let no one destroy you, especially not yourself. Now come. I delay our rest needlessly, and the mage with your soul grows farther away with every moment that passes.
After awakening, we left Adelon's lair en route towards the drow city of Ust-Nathar. After a few hours' march, we stood mimicking a soldier patrol at the city's massive, dark gates. Drow sentries atop the walls spotted us as we approached.
Who is there? You are Drow, but there is no scheduled patrols this day. Identify yourselves.
Viconia leaned in to whisper to me. Stand strong, Callius. The Drow cower before no one, least of all their own. I will speak to this worm of a male. You there! We are from the city of Ched-Nasad, and you will let us pass. We require rest and the service of your temples. An uncomfortable pause held in the air.
Your welcome is conditional upon meeting him. If you fail him, you will be hunted for sport by all who care to join.
The dark iron gates shuddered and opened for our entry. I advise caution in this place. We are fortunate not to be taken hostages as foreigners and sold as slaves. If they mean for us to prove our place, we must serve the matrons utterly. Any misstep, no matter how slight, will draw the attention of the Spider Queen's watchers. Remember, absolute obedience to those of greater rank, especially the handmaidens of Lolth and the matron mothers. To those of equal or lesser rank, no mercy. Otherwise, take advantage of whatever favor is thrown your way. For one such as us, it is the only way to achieve what you are not born to. No mercy. It is our way. We stepped into the city of Ust-Nathar with a display of confidence, where dozens of armored drow stood guard within. More soldiers sparred with umber-colored weapons, hooked swords, and spiked flails. The armor and architecture of the city held themes of a spider's web. I pushed down the encroaching feeling of being a trapped insect. A drow officer came forward, the other soldiers snapping into an elven salute. The officer appraised our group.
Ah, you are the newcomers that have been sent my way, I see. There is no refuge to be had here in Ust-Nathar, fools. We pay for our existence with blood, and you shall do the same. My name is Solophane, and for now you shall do as I say to prove your worth to the matron mothers. Failure is death. Have you a name, vagrant?
The officer barked the question at me mere inches from my face. I kept my expression flat, and heeded Viconia's advice on how to handle the drow here. The name is Veldrin, and I demand the respect I am due, knave!
You shall get none from me, regardless of your achievement, whelp. But your spirit may serve you well in Usnatha, if you know when to show it. For your first task in service to the mother matrons, you shall accompany me in intercepting a squadron of illithids, mind flayers, within the deep tunnels outside the city. They currently have the daughter of one of the matron mothers captive. We are to return her safely. We would send our own soldiers, but our forces are currently engaged with our hated surface kin. Do you understand, Veldrin?
I gave my affirmation, and Solofane quickly led us back out of the city's walls. Another half-day's walking, and my feet were already beginning to chafe. Couldn't these dark elves design some more comfortable wear for their soldiers? I straightened myself whenever Solofane happened to turn his head as I was rubbing my poor ankle. We marched until he gave a signal for us to find cover. We would stage an ambush then. My party and I got into position, hiding behind rocky outcroppings and large, glowing toadstools, waiting for our quarry. With a flash of light, half a dozen creatures appeared, humanoid in shape, but their heads were large and bulbous, with slick blue skin and a mash of tentacles sprouting from their faces. They dragged a drow behind them, her hands bound in irons and a collar around her neck. The matron mother's daughter. I watched Solofane for the signal to attack. He waited until their backs were to us, and gave the signal. We rushed in, felling half the creatures before they could react. The survivors turned, and with a psychic blast from their minds, flung Minsk and Solofane across the cavern. Viconia and Herdelise charged in, but a hand wave from one of the mind flayers stopped them in their tracks, as their eyes glazed over, and they dropped their weapons. I quickly cast an invisibility spell upon myself to avoid a similar fate. I tiptoed stealthily around the aberrations and bumped into something else unseen.
Callius, is that you? It's Imoen. I'm invisible too.
All right. They haven't noticed we're missing yet, but we should save our friends before their brains become an afternoon snack. The mind flayers circled around our stupefied friends, revealing the serrated teeth under their slithering tentacles. Quietly, Imoen and I moved behind and skewered the creatures before they could make a meal of our companions. The mind flayers' hold fell away once they were slain, and our friends were back to normal. I shrugged away from my invisibility and undid the binds on the matron mother's daughter.
Solofane, did my mother send you? Oh, how that must gull you, risking your life to save mine.
I did as I was commanded, Priestess Fere.
Yes, you did, as any male should. And who is this other male with you?
She turned to me.
That one? That is...
I'm sure he can speak for himself. Male, you have a tongue, yes? Who might you be?
I am Veldrin of Chednasad, I said, puffing my chest out proudly.
A foreigner? How very odd. We shall have to speak more, you and I, once we are back to Usnatha. I can inform the matron mother of your successful service. Solofane, you should take note of this male. It would serve you well to follow his example.
Solofane growled at the comment, but held his tongue any further. With a twist of magic, Fere vanished in dark smoke, leaving the rest of us to walk back to the city the way we came.
Blasted arrogant wench! May the Spider Queen bite at her black heart.
We marched back to Usnatha, and had a chance afterwards to rest our feet, thank the gods. We slept in a sparsely furnished barracks in which we were granted lodging. The next day, Solofane came and reported that I would be accompanying him to meet with Priestess Fere for our next assignment. I followed him across the city's bridges, suspended upon colossal stalactites that hung over a bottomless dark chasm. We walked to the Temple of Lolth, where Fairy waited for us. A tense silence weighed upon the air as we entered.
Ah, so Veldrin of Chednasad arrives at last to greet the female that he rescued so valiantly from the clutches of the filthy mind flayers.
I must have been invisible and uninvolved during the conflict, I see.
I was speaking to Veldrin, Cellophane. When I speak to you, it shall be to command you to lick my boot. Keep your bitterness or lose your tongue. In fact, leave my sight this instant. I'll speak to Veldrin alone.
Celophane's jaw held back a tide of spewing rage from his mouth as he made his exit as ordered. Fairy, pleased with his humiliation, turned back to me.
Now ignore your emasculated commander's outburst, Veldrin, and consider this a time for reward. My mother, the matron Ardulus, was pleased with your performance. Seeing as you're so capable, Veldrin, you've been given another task to complete for the glory of Lolth. You are aware of my relationship with Cellophane, yes? You need not stare at me blankly. Our hostility is open and obvious. His insolence is beyond all endurance. I cannot tolerate it further without risking my position in Lolth's hierarchy. But I also cannot take action that would be traced back to myself or my house without risking war. So you can take action for me. You will kill Cellophane.
I tried to stifle the surprise on my face. How do you propose I do this?
I have told Cellophane that you will be joining him for a mission to subjugate the local deep gnomes. You'll be alone with him outside the city, and that shall be your chance to strike. He'll not expect your true intentions. Those of my house will be first questioned for his death, but you, without allies of any house, can get away with his murder. Once you are done, take his cloak and bring it back to me here. It shall make an excellent trophy.
I left, swiftly, and informed Cellophane of our mission. As we tread back into the winding tunnels of the Underdark, I considered my next course of action. Should I go through with this cold-blooded murder? Doing so would surely secure my loyalty to Fairy and get me access to those dragon's eggs. But what kind of bard would I be to stab a man in the back who treats me as his ally? My party followed me as we traveled to the rendezvous point with Cellophane.
All right, Veldrin. The gnomish village is just up ahead. Let us move quickly and strike swiftly, lest we test Fairy's patience even more.
Wait. I have news, Cellophane. Fairy sent me along to kill you, but I'm not going to do that. A slight twinge of shock hit Cellophane's eyes, but he hardly looked that surprised.
I see. It was only a matter of time, I suppose. Fairy and I were lovers once, but her mother, the matron, disapproved. Fairy was tortured by the handmaidens, until all that was left was her ambition, leaving me as a reminder of her weakness. But if you're not going to kill me, what do you propose we do?
I'll need your cloak to prove to Fairy that you are dead. Then you can go into hiding. Cellophane paused for a long and silent moment, then sighed and undid the clasp of his finely made soldier's cloak.
Here, take it. I don't know why I tell you this. Perhaps this is the mercy you show me. But I feel we Drow have lost the right path. The Spider Queen's influence has turned us cruel, stabbing at each other's backs. I will seek others who feel as I do. I shall not betray your secret, Veldrin. Farewell.
With Celophane's cloak in hand, I reported back to Fairy at her home within the city. Her eyes went wide at the sight, as if almost unbelieving.
Ah, I see you have Celophane's cloak. My darling Veldrin, he is dead, yes? Yes, of course. He is dead. Give it to me. All love is foolish.
She said and cast it into the fireplace. She watched the cloak burn away till nothing was left but ash.
You've done well, Veldrin. You've earned a place of honor in my house. But first, you are a worthy and powerful male.
worthy of my bed. I will show you an evening worth more than an eternity with all other women. Come to me.
Oh, if I must, then I suppose I have no choice. And I was swiftly dragged to Fairy's bedchambers. The next day, I rejoined my companions as we were all summoned to Fairy for a secret meeting. Fairy gave a knowing smile to me as I entered. Herr Delise must have noticed the glance as he leaned into me.
My raven, fair be it from me to judge your bedroom companions, but might I inquire if you laid with this powerful woman, to whom you have been trudging around for?
Don't worry, Herr Delise. As she wasn't looking, I simply conjured an illusion and had tea downstairs. I snuck back into bed several hours later once the screams of ecstasy stopped.
Ah, very clever, my raven.
Of course. You know my eyes look towards much greater prospects. I waggled my eyebrows in response towards my fellow bard. Fairy cleared her throat loudly, and I stood back in attention.
Greetings, Veldrin. I have a plan that will place me as head of my house as we take our rightful place as the rulers of Usnatha. My plan includes you and your underlings. Do as I say, and the rewards will be unimaginable. In order for this to succeed, you must betray the matron mother. Are you willing to do this? Think carefully on your answer.
Okay, Callius. Here we go. Can't look too eager, but we still have to sell it. First, eyes go wide in surprise at the scandal, but hide it quickly, as if I caught myself. Good, good. Then scrunch the eyebrows down in contemplation to show you're weighing the risks versus the rewards. Then purse the lips in steely determination. Pursing. Got it! Now, bring it home. Very well, Fairy. I will betray the matron mother, as you ask. Fairy gave a smile rich as wine.
Good. The matron mother will perform a ritual to summon a demon of terrible power, one to aid in our attack upon the elves of the surface. Most importantly, we have acquired the eggs of a silver dragon. The matron mother plans to use them as an offering to the demon to enlist its aid. However, it will not be my mother making this offering, but me instead. You, Veldrin, will go into the treasury, steal the dragon eggs, and replace them with these convincing fakes I have made. Bring the real eggs to me, do you understand?
I answered affirmatively, and left at once with my companions. We marched with diligence to the treasury, where the eggs were being kept. Minsk and Viconia went to distract the guards with questions, while Imoen and I went invisible and snuck inside. After some quick spells to remove the locks and enchantments, we found an ornate chest filled with 12 silver gleaming eggs. Imoen grabbed them, and I placed Fairy's decoy eggs in their place, so that none of the drow would be the wiser. We made our way out of the treasury without leaving a trace of our thievery. But there was one more issue. Fairy would still expect us to give her the real eggs, and we needed them for Adelon's help in finding Irenicus and Bodhi. Just then, a hand grabbed me from behind. I expected a blade to my throat next, but I saw underneath a dark hood was Solafane. He whispered to me.
Veldrin, excellent. I have found you. I have something to offer. Something to give that treacherous wench Fairy what she deserves. I surmissed her double cross with the matron mother, and brought you these, a second copy of the eggs, just as fake as the first. She marked her own fakes to tell the difference, but not these. These will fool her and make her think she has the real eggs.
Thank you, Solafane. I will. This is a great help.
I don't even think Veldrin is your real name, but I don't care. You've spared my life, and the only thing I regret is that I won't be there to see the look on Fairy's face. Farewell, my brother.
Now, with Solafane's decoys in hand, we returned to Fairy with haste. She waited with bated breath as I handed her Solafane's copies of the eggs, near identical to the unhatched dragons.
Ah, you are a marvel, my brilliant Veldrin. You've done just as I asked, and returned with the true eggs. Now we shan't delay. We shall go to the temple and begin the ritual with the matron mother at once.
We headed swiftly to the matron mother's temple. Fairy made little effort to show the pride and delight she felt at holding what she thought were the true dragon's eggs. Once at the temple, we were led by darkly robed handmaidens into a large ritual chamber, where the matron mother herself stood in sweeping robes of black night. In the center, on a spiked dais, sat what I knew to be the fake dragon eggs Fairy had us planned. The matron mother raised her hands, and all voices fell silent, and what dim light held in the room dimmed further to near total darkness. All preparations have been made. In moments, the drow will stand supreme, with our house first among them. Let the summoning ritual begin. Pentagrams of blood upon the ground alighted in violet flame, burning a portal into the floor of the chamber. A massive red-skinned arm burst from the portal, and then another, dragging up the winged body of a demon lord. Once their fiery entrance was complete, they looked down upon my companions and I, then to Fairy and the matron mother. The demon lord's gaze held on the matron of the drow.
I have come. You have wrenched me from my prey, mortal. Have good reason, or I shall take my price in your blood.
I have good reason, Lord of the Nether Pits. I beseech you to aid the drow cause in the war against our hated surface cousins.
And what manner of tithe would you pay to warrant my aid?
I offer you these, Lord of Fiends, eggs of a silver dragon, a self-righteous creature of light. Yours to do with as you please in return for your aid. The demon lord took one look at the eggs presented in the center of the chamber, and its face furrowed into rage.
Foolish dark elves, do you think I would be taken by such simplistic deception?
What do you mean, O Dark Lord? These are...
These are fake. I would have taken such a tithe were they real, but now you have offended me. Perish.
The matron mother flailed in a panic. No! Loth, protect your faithful... The demon lord snapped its fingers, and the matron mother was consumed in a column of hellfire. Not even ash was left upon the ground. Seizing the opportunity, Fairy removed the eggs I had given her from her robes, and held them aloft for the demon.
Hold, demon! I am Fairy, the daughter of the one who summoned you, and I have the eggs you seek.
The demon gave a curious look, beholding the gleaming eggs in Fairy's arms.
Foolish daughter, the eggs you hold are also false.
What? No, it's Veldrin! Veldrin! What have you done to me?
Viconia scoffed at her. You are weak, Fairy, and you pay the ultimate price amongst the drow. An ignoble death. Callius the Humble has beaten you all. Also, Fairy, when you bedded me last night, it was with an illusion. My mirror duplicate appeared from behind me with a cheerful wave. Fairy stared in shock and unfathomable disdain.
I will destroy you, Veldrin. I will find you and eat your beating heart. I will...
Another snap of the demon's fingers, and Fairy vanished into flame as quickly as her mother. I stepped forward to address the mighty fiend. Return from whence you came, demon. There is no offer for you here, and your summoners are dead.
So be it. At least this was amusing. Mortals are ever fools.
A portal of flame and shadow swallowed the demon back to whatever hellscape it came from. With Fairy and the matron mother dead, we now only had to flee the city and return the eggs to their mother. But surely the matron mother and her daughter would be found dead before we made it out of the city gates in time. The drow here would torture us for weeks before even considering killing us. We needed to act swiftly and discreetly to ensure our escape. Adelon seemed almost surprised to see us as we returned to her cavern lair, as much as an ancient silver dragon can seem surprised, that is.
So, you have returned, and I sense...
I brandished a thick satchel, opening the flap to reveal half a dozen gleaming silver dragon eggs to their mother. Safe and sound.
You have my eternal gratitude, Calius the Humble. I had my doubts. You and your party would be able to escape Usnatha unscathed.
Well, we realized that we could kind of just run. I mean, we have quite a number of haste spells, and you'd be surprised how long it takes to actually react to a group of fugitives running full sprint out of your city. By the time the guards were coming, we were already free of the city gate.
Well done. You have returned that which I treasure most to me. Now I may aid as you agreed. I sense where this wizard Aranicus lies upon the surface. He currently attacks the great elven city of Sodanesalar, decimating its people and plundering that which it holds most dear.
And for what purpose? Does Aranicus face an entire city of elves on his lonesome?
He seeks a power there to ascend himself to godhood, a mission that he requires your stolen soul for. Beyond that, I cannot say. Even now, Aranicus, as well as Sodanesalar, are untouchable and unfindable, save for one possibility.
Please, whatever it is, we shall seek it out. Tell us, great dragon.
The elves of Sodanesalar held an ancient artifact of great power, the Rin Lanthorn, a lantern etched with elven ruins that have attuned itself to the elven people. Its power cannot be barred from the city. Any who carry the lantern may pass unimpeded into Sodanesalar.
And where exactly can we find this Rin Lanthorn?
I sense it currently lies in the city of Athkatla with Aranicus' sister.
Curses! Bodhi has in her possession the only means of getting to Aranicus, and she has already proved to be a fearsome foe. Very well. Send us back to Athkatla. We have some unfinished business with Bodhi there.
As you wish, humble bard.
Adelon reared back, unfurling her majestic silver wings. Her great eyes flashed with shining light, and the familiar feeling of falling came as we teleported back to the city of Athkatla.
Whew. So much going on.
Yeah.
So much betrayal.
Yeah.
I love that Callius is like, oh, that when we betted, that was just illusion. It's such like a unneeded thing to say, but still so funny. Still very Callius. You know?
It's very fun playing this very like flamboyant homosexual man running through in this game from the early 2000s that's very like heteronormatively focused, you can tell.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wanted to put in a bit of Jaheira and Viconia just constantly like kind of coming on to Callius, because they sort of just do that throughout the game. They just have a conversation with you kind of unprompted. Like Jaheira will be like, you know, ever since my husband Khalid died, it's just things have been so lonely. And Viconia's just like, you know, I've been rather impressed by your efforts, and I am well versed in the drow erotic arts. And it's like, oh, okay, it's like, welcome, my liege, come play now. It's like, ladies, please. I love you both dearly, but I'm afraid that's not quite what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You're more of a friend. No, I think it's great. I love the betrayal. I love the demon coming, and both Farah and the mother matron getting their comeuppance, and I think that is such a great scene. I just love and I love how the demon almost has like a sense of humor. Like, oh man, humans are always just all foolish. I love that. Like he's had a history with humans just being, or mortals. I'm not humans. Mortals being foolish. I mean,
I love after like the intensity of the last chapter. This felt like its own little like Callius adventure that by the end we get like back on track. And not that this is off track because this is all like really important, but it is such a perfect like reminder of this is a big adventure. There's big exciting things going on. Here's this really cool wild place that Callius gets to explore, be a part of, and then it continues to further that story, but still gives us this reminder of what it was like, you know, before everything that was going on. And that's still in the back of our heads, but it's this like perfect it's this perfect adventure that fits within the story but is so important to remind us like who these characters are and what they can do, and Callius can kind of let go of some of the things that are weighing them down and a little bit like bring some good into this place that is like unfortunately like portrayed as just a bunch of evil that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's definitely the older, slightly problematic depiction of the drow. I do at least, you know, most people who talk about it say, though, it's like, it's because they have, like, a literal, like, goddess of, like, misery and oppression kind of controlling all of them. But yeah, the writing for the drow is, like, super hammy in this game, where everything they do is, like, any failure becussed upon you will result in immediate death. Weakling. It's like they use a lot of like weakling, fool, knave. It's a lot of that type of vibe. Because it's like, oh wow, people are really intense here. It's real big vibe.
I love that like Cellophane was able to kind of regain some sense of like, I don't want to say kindness, but like maybe compassion. I don't know. Like, it was really cool. He didn't seem like the character that was actually able to get to that point. So it's nice to see that.
Yeah, the whole level is filled with there's so many little side quests, places to go. You fight like all manner of just awful creatures in the Underdark. But the main point of it is you know, kind of being in disguise in this place, trying to be one of the people. And I thought that emotional heart of Solophane's and Fairy's relationship and that eventual turn of Callius deciding to spare somebody kind of works out for him, and the people who have committed themselves to ambition and death sort of get what's coming to them in that regard.
Yeah. It's a very satisfying. I feel like it doesn't happen very often, but very satisfying end to that part of the tale and those characters. It was very good. I just like the demon voice. That's fun.
And applause to Eric.
Thank you.
Is the unfortunate one to run into all of these like very specific fantasy terms and names.
You guys have been very kind to me. I appreciate your kindness. I always mess it up.
No, Ryan and I play D&D all the time, so we're always like, it's like you must go to the temple of Tiamat, where the servants of Bahamut.
Yeah.
I struggle to read normal words. You know what I mean? It's like, oh god. And want to do right by it.
Yeah. Wonderful elven names like Suldanesalot. It's like, what? Yeah. What was that? Say that one more time.
It sounded out.
But yeah, D&D's got a lot of wacky names.
Yeah.
They just like to throw into things. So
I'm very excited. We're going back to Athkatla.
Yeah.
Going back, right?
Yeah, where adventure started.
Yes. Now, Athkatla is more of a, if I remember correctly, please tell me if I'm right, more of like a, for some reason I'm picturing a desert in my mind. Is that true? Is it more of a deserty?
It's like, it's got a little bit of that, like...
Oasis-y, kind of?
A little bit of that flair. I think it's still sort of in a country. It's like there's still like forests. And
okay.
That kind of general, you know, generic fantasy kind of terrain. But yeah, it's set up as a different place because again, this whole game, there's no Baldur's Gate in Baldur's Gate 2. It's the one game that you don't go to Baldur's Gate at all. You're somewhere else for the whole time. So Athkatla kind of takes its place as like the main capital city of the region of
I'm very curious because they still have to deal with Bodhi, and then even go to Aranicus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just feels like there's always like that catch up happening for them. I feel for Callius. Oh
no, Ryan and I very much know the feeling of being on a grand D&D adventure and needing to play a lot of catch up.
Yeah. Patience is a virtue.
Yeah, as our characters really like getting into situations, and then those situations have consequences which then need to be fixed, and then we just keep doing that forever.
Yeah.
Chapter 6. Our party walked along the roads back to Athkatla, where our journey started. The dragon Adelon was able to teleport us to a forest clearing just outside the city. Probably a good idea, as a silvery dragon portal would be a touch conspicuous in the center of the bustling capital, especially with Bodhi's forces likely awaiting our arrival. An hour or so in, Head Elise's sharp eyes picked up something.
What is this, my raven? Another group of adventurers, hardened with experience, and on their way to another feat of bravery, no doubt. Are we going to fight, do you think?
Oh, I see another drow. I begin to see them everywhere, ever since the Underdark. They are so vicious, even Boo cowers. Ah, there is one here in our midst. That's just Viconia, Minsk. Imbecile. Our lively banter seemed to have alerted the approaching strangers. The drow in question waved and called out.
Ho there, travelers. I am Dritz de Ern, most recently of 10 towns. Are you friend or foe?
By the gods! It's Dristo Erden! I turned to the rest of my party. Do you know who this is? The rest of my party shrugged. Are you kidding me? This is Dristo Erden, fabled hero of the Northern Sword Coast. He has spawned hundreds of tales of valor and glory. Oh, I used to sing songs about him. Oh, and look, he's accompanied by his trusty companions, Bruna Battlehammer, Wolfgar of the Icewind Dale, Catty Bree of Mithril Hall, and Regis. Oh, I have dreamt of this day for so long. Ow!
Well met, friend. It seems my reputation has preceded me. Have we met before? I feel your face is familiar.
Oh, yes, we met briefly once. I helped you defeat some gnolls near Baldur's Gate.
That was you? Oh, glad I'm able to meet you again, friend. It is good to see others of decent nature travel these roads, especially with all the rumors of danger. If you are in need of assistance, I'll be glad to offer it. If not, I'll wish you well, and we shall be on our way.
Actually, if you're offering, I think I have a proposal for you, Dristoer.
A proposal? Very well, stranger. I have no objections to hearing you out. If I can assist you, I will.
We returned to the city of Athkatla, inside the familiar walls where we had first emerged after escaping from Irenicus's clutches. While our quest to find Bodhi and stop Irenicus held great priority, I knew I had one task before we moved on. I went alone to the city's temple of Ilmater, patron god to the suffering and oppressed. A robed priestess bid me welcome inside.
Greetings, my brother. Welcome to the humble abode of the one who endures. Ilmater shelters all in need and suffers himself for others' pain.
I have a strange request, priestess. I have the heart of a man who died in shame.
Tell me of this man.
Yoshimo, a friend that was forced into treachery. He begged that Ilmater spare his soul from the hell he was promised.
I see. Events took him further than he expected, and he suffered as he struggled between duty and his conscience. I have seen such torment in souls before. Very well. We shall take his heart to the breast of Ilmater. Crying God will determine what torment is deserved or not. If there is suffering undeserved, This Yoshimo will see great relief in his eternal rest.
That is most reassuring to hear. So, like I said here, I have his heart.
Bahamut's balls! What is that? You have his actual heart? I thought you were speaking spiritually.
No, you see, I was worried he would not find redemption in his heart, and...
Oh God! Just drop it in the basin there, and be cleansed.
Thank you kindly. I watched as Yoshimo's heart plopped into the basin of holy water and slowly sank to the bottom. I nodded my head solemnly and gave a silent prayer. May you find your true rest, my friend.
Please leave!
With my former comrade's heart cleansed of his earthly transgressions, we made for the graveyard district of Athkatla, where we had once faced Bodhi before in the underground catacombs buried deep below the ground. Tiptoeing down into the abandoned crypts, we found the decrepit tunnels peculiarly absent of bloodthirsty vampires. We kept our guards up, as we knew an ambush was likely imminent. But we faced no opposition until we came to Bodhi's chamber. Bodhi stood in a grand tomb lined with pools of dark crimson blood. Sarcophagi lined the walls over the pools as if to drain the blood of their captives. Bodhi stood comfortably, a sly smile upon her dead, gray face.
You are becoming an impressive pest, one that I'm finding difficult to ignore. Honestly, I simply do not know what to do with you. I grow tired of seeing you in my shadow.
I am not the one that fled our last encounter, Bodhi. Sorry if I scared you.
Hardly. It was simply more important that I report your condition to Irenicus. He has decided that it is no importance. Interesting, though, as it is. Regardless, I'm afraid your journey ends here. You've been very resourceful in finding me, although I did not go out of my way to hide.
You should have made more of an effort. We have an obligation to destroy you, as if we needed more reasons.
No matter where you ran, it would not have helped. We were a determined bunch, and seems pushed toward you from many sides.
Who would have found you wherever you tried to put your evil foot? That's what we do!
I have come for what you stole from me, and I will not leave here empty. I will have my soul. You may try, Imowen, but you will fail. We've worked long to realize our revenge, and will not be stopped by you. I'm sure your reasons for coming are all very important to you. Do spare me the boredom of hearing them.
As if your crimes against me weren't enough. You've endangered an entire elven city.
You help those treacherous elves? They deserve all they receive and more. They will not even approach us while we destroy them. Such is their arrogance. Let them shiver in fear that they die between me and Irenicus. They would not even acknowledge us as their own, and now we will bury them all.
What do you mean, as their own? Elves rarely allowed outsiders of any kind in their cities.
Fool. They would have you think we are some foreign intruders attacking their city for no reason. Their shame is that Irenicus and I are very familiar to them indeed. No elf would dare turn against others. No elf would endanger the very fabric of our society. No elf would do as Irenicus and I have done. They all stood by while we echoed our crimes and their punishments. I should almost let you live, so that they could have the shame of an outsider questioning them about their whole matter. Almost. Your part ends here, Callius the Humble. I shall feast on the blood of the gods while you enter death with questions unanswered.
Bodhi opened her arms wide, and the sarcophagi slammed open, dropping their rotting inhabitants into the blood pools. A dozen blood-soaked mummies crawled from the pools towards us. Our party sprang into action. I dashed straight for Bodhi, who welcomed me with a gleeful hunger and a fanged smile. My rapier clashed against her claws. While I kept Bodhi occupied, Imowen vaulted over me with a vengeful shout and lashed out with her own blade. Bodhi, with lightning speed, grabbed Imowen's leg and spun, tossing her into me. We fell back into our party, who were fighting off the dripping undead. Minsk cleaved his axe into one skull, but kept it moving. Minsk cleaved his axe into one skull, but it kept moving. Hedalice pierced another with many blade strikes, but their shambling continued unabated. We were closed in further and further, surrounded by Bodhi's powerful minions. Jahira and Viconia began their incantations to ward off the abominations, but they could not concentrate with our backs pressed up against them. Fools! I need more room to cast my spells! This is a bit more close quarters than to my liking, Callius. Apologies, friends, but we're a little hard-pressed here. The undead squeezed us in like a vice, until I found it hard to even swing my blade. Bodhi cackled as she watched us helplessly struggle against her hardened corpses. Just then, a glint of light shone behind Bodhi, and the next moment she screeched as a figure leapt out, dual scimitars sweeping. A dark-skinned drow with long waves of luscious white hair launched from the darkness. It was Drist Doerden! He rolled, landing with his blades out, coated in Bodhi's vampiric blood. Another cry rang out as a dwarf in a horned helmet crushed his way through the undead using a massive warhammer. The mummies in their bloodied bandages almost had me in their deathly grasp, but the mummies in their bloodied bandages almost had me in their deathly grasp before their moans were cut short. Arrowheads burst forth from their faces, and they fell to true lifelessness. Bruna Battlehammer and Catty Bree, oh my goodness, I'm such a huge fan!
Do not forget Wolfgar of the Icewind Dale!
Mummies began sailing through the air as a burly man in pelts began throwing them away with supreme strength. The circle encroaching us began to break up as the mummies turned to fight our saviors. We rushed Bodhi together. She crouched into a stance, ready to pounce, claws out. Viconia blasted her with a burst of holy light, blinding Bodhi for a moment. Hedalice slashed at her with a flurry of blades, which she dodged with supernatural speed. But that gave enough of an opening for Minsk to come in with his axe, which Bodhi caught with her bare hands, clasping the blade of it. With her arms occupied, Boo scrambled off Minsk's shoulder and leapt onto Bodhi's face, scratching and biting. Bodhi launched Minsk away to free her hands, grasping for the ferocious rodent. Jahira followed up with Boo's distraction, sending thick vines to grab Bodhi's arms. Bodhi screamed as she was rooted to the ground, unable to move. Imoen and I rushed in while she was vulnerable. We each plunged our blades directly into Bodhi's heart. She screamed in a bloody panic.
No! No, it's mine! The life is mine! Ah!
Bodhi's body evaporated into a fine vapor and floated away into another chamber. We rushed inside to find an intricate coffin lid closed. Minsk propped it open, and we saw a pale, withered corpse within. It was Bodhi's true form, laid to rest here. The desiccated eyes shot open and eyed me with vigorous hatred. Before she could move, Imoen planted a stake into her heart. Bodhi writhed and thrashed and screamed, and a surge of energy sprang out like a leak from her impaled chest. Imoen's divine soul fled from its thieving host and circled its true home, gently settling back into Imoen's form. Bodhi shrieked, clawing at the air as if to grab the returning soul, but could do nothing more but fall to ash, unmade. Imoen took a deep breath and smiled.
I feel better now. I feel whole again. Thank you for everything, Callius. I am restored, and I hope your own healing isn't too far off.
My body still ached from its own lack, even more so after the gruesome fight, but I could not help but smile, seeing Imoen restored, as she stood tall and proud, as I had not seen her in quite some time. I gave Dristowurden and his party my thanks, as they bade us farewell. A chest in Bodhi's coffin chamber glowed with mystical brilliance. Opening it quickly, inside I found a lantern gilded with patterns of leaves weaving together bordering strong trees. The gentle light of a morning sunrise beamed out from its glassed surface. The Rinland Thorn, our key to Soldanesalar, where John Irenicus currently laid waste to its elvish denizens. With the Rinland Thorn in hand, we made for the forests south of Athkatla to find Soldanesalar, and within John Irenicus. We would put an end to his villainous rampage once and for all, and return my stolen soul.
I'm very happy that Emon has her soul back. That's very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like Bodhi was trying really hard to be a strong villain and has kept constantly like, it's like, no, stop it. You're stopping me from being a good, from being a effective villain. Like, stop it. And then we go back and be like, you've come yet again. I'm going to beat you. Oh, stop it. No, stop it. All right. Ow.
I
You know
would
what I
have
mean?
killed you last time, but I remembered I'd left the stove on.
Exactly. Definitely the energy.
No, I just, yeah, that's so great. I think that this is a great way to set up for for what is to come for the end of this story. I think it's a great way to kind of give hope to what will become of the tale for Callius, or the end goal for Callius. Though I'm not sold that he will get his soul back yet. I don't know. There's a part of me that feels like there could be something coming. But then again, that's what's great about the stories. You don't really know what's coming and all the different twists and turns that happen. Yeah. Ryan, let's start with you. What do you feel so far about the story?
I mean, it's such a wonderful D&D story. I mean, as we were like finishing up this last section, my mind went back to, you know, the part of our journey where the goal was just to make a ton of money, right? Like, what a very like D&D part of the adventure. We have to do a bunch of jobs to get some money to then get to this next thing, and now we're at this like really incredible arc of, we're no longer like not only are we looking to save an entire city, but also ourselves. And you have this really beautiful echo of Imoen getting their soul back, that then, like you said, like gives hope to what's coming in the future. And this whole like, also like the and I'm positive this isn't in the game, but maybe it is, the inclusion of Drist and his like band of super famous adventurers being involved in this is incredible, and Callius's reaction is perfect. I loved that so much.
I will say that is 100% in the game.
Is it really?
It is, because they have
nuts.
that little cameo in the first game where you can just kind of run into Dristowurden out in the wild and just like fight some monsters with him, and it's like, oh cool, Dristowurden, and like anybody who's like read those novels, it's like, oh cool, it's like this fun D&D character from like actual lore things. And then and they put a full fan service cameo where there's a whole cutscene as you're traveling back to Athkatla where Dristowurden approaches, and you can just choose to kill him if you're feeling like an evil asshole.
Yeah.
Just like, I want to fight this guy, but yeah, Callius as a bard, knowing all the mythical tales of all the most vaunted heroes with.
I just love Callius so much, and I think Callius is just such a relatable character. I feel like Callius is this hero that gets everything the way that he necessarily wants it to, but rolls with the punches in such a way that is so identifiable or so relatable in this mythical, magical world of this, you know, this D&D world. I feel is just so great. I am just a little sad that John Irenicus wasn't in this part of the script, because I was ready to play him today.
Don't worry.
He's
He's got a lot in the next one.
He was when I was like, well, I gotta make sure I get his voice down no matter what. Yoshimo's one thing, but I kind of knew what was gonna happen with him. Like I had to make sure John Rex was gonna be on point for today. But it is what it is. Obviously, I think that building up because like now we know where he stands and what he is doing to the elves and oh man, no, hold up. Soda and Escalar. SLR. I'm gonna practice so much. It's gonna be insane. That's all. I'm gonna talk like.
I really need to. I need to go through when I'm editing. I need to make a little glossary.
Oh, it'd be so nice of you.
Like, here's we've done it the past like 4 times we've done this.
Eric,
No.
I will say the best way to get these is just you got to play D&D with us, right? That's the best way to get
I
these
know.
names.
I should.
I'm just
gotta
giving you a
be
hard
in
time.
character while some fucking some elvish oracle is just speaking to your party and is like, you must go to the city of Ravistaganriath, and there you will find the great jewels of the fabled hero Norslatiliomen.
I'll be writing this all down.
Copious notes.
Got it. How do you spell it? What? How many L's? Yeah, it's a.
I mean L's, yeah.
Yeah.
I had some really cool D&D characters. So one day,
Yeah.
I think I was thinking about it a lot actually recently because I knew this was coming up. And I definitely think I'm more of an in-person D&D player. But I think if I found I remember we used to play D&D a good amount in person with our friends from back home, and I had a lot of fun with that. I think it was, but I think if I find that same feeling within like the virtual side of it, I think I'm much more. I think I'll get there one day. I think I'm building up. To
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played physical D&D in like years. I think since like before the pandemic.
We need to plan like a camping trip somewhere where like we rent a cabin and just play D&D for an entire weekend. So
That would be awesome.
yeah.
To be fair, we say though, it's like if you get like if you've got like a good group of friends with you, even playing online, like I got Ryan here. He knows it's like we do emotional stuff that I'm still like weeping for 3 hours afterwards because like we still tell I love it. Don't you pity me?
No, I'm not pitying. No.
No,
Great. Now I will never come back to finish the story.
Ryan will tell you. I like the dark stuff.
Yeah.
We did all the goofy stuff with Callius. Now I just tell my friends make me suffer. Who needs therapy when you just play Dungeons and Dragons? Cry
Get
about
all
it,
the
bro.
emotions out.
Yeah.
Celeste, how do you feel about this part of the story?
Ooh, I really I liked in trying to whittle what's the start and end of these pieces. I liked that it sort of began with Bodhi's little challenge. Yes, make it out of my test. See if you can. I love the hunt. And ending with her defeat, leaving just the big bad left to take down at the end of it. I thought it made like a nice little arc as it was. We got the whole little underdark little chapter of this story, and it's cleared every other loose end out of the way. Now it's just Callius gets to beeline right for his greatest rival and the most treacherous fucking villain. So I think it sets up really well for a big grand finale.
I'm very curious how Rennicus will receive the news of Bodhi's death. If he's not going to care, or if he's going to be extremely upset. I feel like I see both equally as possible in my mind. You know what I mean? Just knowing how treacherous and horrible he is. Because I can see her being a tool in his mind that he used to get a means to an end, or if he actually did care about her, which would kind of humanize him in a sense, make him more relatable. So I'm very curious how that will go. So good. Celeste, thank you so much. You did so great as always. We are so lucky that you do this.
The next part should be out much sooner than a year from now.
Yes, it'd be great. Yeah, whenever you want to record again, please. We'll
You just let us know when you're ready, and we'll clear everything.
Let your few months to your throat to heal.
Oh my god, I know. That was like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You did so good. Storygoers, as always, please let us know your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives of this fantastic story that Celeste has gone through and does such a great job of making. Email us at talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All of the E's are 3's. You can also Find us on our social media, as well as leaving a voicemail or text at 207-494-4334, or answering our poll question down below if you're listening to us on Spotify. Of course, if you want to donate to our Patreon, that'd be fantastic. Rate us if you'd be so inclined to. Celeste, is there anything that you would like to plug before we end the show?
Oh, this is the most I've done on anything. You want to see more of me? Just keep coming back here.
Yeah.
I'll come by.
Let's get big enough so Celeste to just have a job writing amazing D&D stories.
Yeah, or like if
That'd be
you
fantastic.
are like need a writer for a TV show, or if you need
oh my God.
like somebody to lead your like voice acting for all your voice actors, just reach out to us and we will like get you the true talent in this space.
Yep.
Yep.
100%. 100%. If Callius can be in Baldur's Gate 3, that's like a small little cameo thing. That'd be so, or bigger. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Bigger would be great too.
Yeah.
But that'd be amazing. It'd be so cool. I mean, of course, Callius story is obvious. You know what I mean. For the masses who deserve that,
for everybody else
yes.
to get to experience it. Yeah.
Yes. Celeste, thank you so much. I'm excited to record again. This will be great.
Of course, thank you all for having me again. It's always a wonderful blast.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, everyone stay safe. Hope you're happy and healthy, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.